Hello everyone, today we'll continue learning Python and today we'll work with decorators in Python. So let's start. Imagine that you have a function which cannot be changed at all. And if you need to modify a function without changing its source code, you can use decorators in Python. So they are special phenomena which are used again when we cannot change the source code of one function. And for example, we have function foo. So define foo and print 1. So imagine that function foo has lots of dependencies in our project. So for example, if I will print not 1 but 2, our program will break up. And what if we need to modify that function without changing its source code? Again, we can use decorator. So I'll create another function called decorator, and we need to pass here function. So if you don't know, Python is an object-oriented programming language, and everything in Python is an object. So for example, function is an object, class is an object, and object is an object, okay? And we can pass functions in another functions in parentheses. So we can use functions as arguments in other functions, okay? And I can call that function like that, and yeah, everything will work fine. So let's call decor now. And let's call decor now, and yeah, we should provide function here, so foo, as you can see. But we will not call the function, we will just provide the name, so like that. If I'll put parentheses here, we will call the function, okay? But now we just provide a link, and as you can see, it prints 1 because function is called here, and it goes to foo, and foo prints 1. Everything works fine. Okay, so let's move on. In function decor, I will create another function. So def or define wrapper. So wrapper, it's a function which will be returned. I will talk about that later. So for example, let's print hello, then let's call our function, and then let's return not function but wrapper. So what we do here, we create a decorator function which accepts function. Then we create wrapper here, and we print hello before calling the function which was provided here. And then what we do is we return the wrapper again, or wrapper. Again, everything in Python is an object, and we can return an object, and we can return the function as an object like we do here. Again, we return a function from another function. And what we can do now, so now I will create, let's go foo equals decorator from, you know that foo is an object, it's a function, but an object. And we use decorator with foo in it. So we update foo function and we assign it as decorator from foo. Decorator from foo creates wrapper or wrapper in it and prints hello, calls our initial function, and then returns the wrapper. And our foo is equals now to that wrapper. And what will happen if I'll call foo after that line? Let's run, and as you can see, it prints hello and then 1. But we have not changed foo code yet, we just print 1 here. But because of our decorator, so I use decorator here, I updated my function, it now prints hello and then 1. Everything works fine, and we can actually print after function if you have some misunderstanding, so goodbye like that. As you can see, hello, 1, goodbye. Everything again works fine. Then how we can remove that line and write decorator in more readable way? We can remove that, and before foo function I can call that sign, and then I can call decor, just the name. Now our function foo will be decorated once it is initialized. Let's call hello, 1, goodbye. Everything works fine, and actually it's better to write in that way because everything writes like that and it's more convenient. Okay, let's move on. What if I need to provide an argument to my function? So for example, I'll call foo to 3, and I need some of these arguments. So instead of 1, now I'll print some. And in wrapper, what I will do, I will create these arguments, so x and y. So as you can see, I have not changed my function yet. Okay, I wrote some, but it doesn't matter now. And I have not passed any arguments here. But in wrapper, I passed x and y. And now what I can do is, instead of hello, I can write x plus y. and let's call function, then x plus y, and I'll remove goodbye. So now let's call our function. As you can see, it says sum and then 5. Again, if you want to pass any arguments in foo, you should pass them into wrapper or wrapper, I don't know, into wrapper, because again, after decorator initialization, your function is not foo, it's a wrapper which uses foo to do some work. Okay, if you have foo x y initially, so for example x y, and it prints sum like that, x plus y, function was that function initially. What you need to do is pass these arguments into wrapper and then pass them into function which was into function you use in your decorator. And let's go not x plus y but x multiplied by y. So now, as you can see, we have arguments here and we have arguments here. Let's go sum 5 and 6. Everything works fine. Again, if your function initially has some arguments, what you need to do is simply pass these arguments into function right here. And yeah, that's how it works. Let's move on. Okay, now I need to make a counter. Okay, now I want to make a counter. So as you can see, foo function prints 1 and then I call that function foo 10 times. Let's run. Everything works fine. But what if we need to measure how many times our function foo was called? Okay, now let's create a class called decorator, like that. And then let's create initialize method, not call but initialize. What I will provide in my parentheses, it's function again. So as we did it in normal decorators, we do it with classes. So self.functions, let's call func equals func. Okay, I created a variable or field in a class decorator called function, and then I'll create counter. So self.counter, which is equals to 0. Then every class has a method which is called call. So double underscore call. Double underscore call is used when we call function with parentheses. So for example, I'll create decorator here. You don't really need to do this. And then I'll call, after initialization, I'll call a with a object with parentheses. So parentheses after initialization, it's call method. Okay. Okay. Then what I need to do here is return my function. So return self.function. I'll call that. So actually you can do whatever you want. So for example, print count like that, and then self function. Okay, and then what I want to do is add count to our function. So for example, self.function plus equals 1. Not self.function, sorry, but self.counter. What we do here, when we created our class decorator, we created function, so self function equals function and counter equals to 0. Then once we called our function, so in every function call we add 1 to the counter, and then we return self.function as we do it, and we print count just to show you. And let's print initialize here just to show you how many times initialize is called. The number is 1, or the answer is 1. So now what I will do is I'll put that sign here, I don't know how it's called, and then decorator. So now everything should work fine. Let's call our program. Yeah, as you can see, 1 time initialize is called, so init here, then we count, everything works fine. And how we can get the number of that counter, so how we can get the counter itself. So now you can see that I print function code, then I use foo, the name of the function, dot counter, because we use counter here. Okay, and then times. Let's call that. And as you can see, function called 10 times. Everything works perfectly. Well, when we created our foo function and we updated it with decorator, what we did is simply we passed function into initialization of decorator and we created self.counter. And when we call our function, we simply add 1 to that. And again, functions are object, and because of that, it's possible. So after we updated our function with decorator, our foo function with decorator, there is no more foo function in our code. So if we'll not look at decorator, there is no foo function. Okay, there is only decorated foo function with our decorator. And when we call it with parentheses like here, we use call like here. Okay, and everything works fine. Now what I want to do is let's call not that, but let's print type of foo. So now let's print type of our function foo. So foo here, and let's call not foo because it will return the function, but type of foo. So as you can see, it says class main our package dot decorator. So now we use only the decorator itself. We have no function foo. It's only stored here in decorator, but actually we will never use it in our code like foo print1 because we decorated our function. So decorators are very cool things in Python, and they are very I don't know, strong and very useful. And yeah, actually that's all I can tell you. But that information I told you is only at the beginning of decorators. You can use every function you want, and actually you can use not only functions in decorators. And yeah, I think that's cool. So good luck.